Hey guys, welcome back. Drip and Farm for Pop. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all drip ecosystem related projects. And today's video, I'm coming back from the one I just dropped yesterday about the no moral compass. Because yeah, man, I think I found my groove on what I want to discuss regarding morals, values, expectations, all this stuff like that. So it's just really stirring up content for me because I realize what I'm trying to do in the space, and I have a very different vision for what the space is going to be. And I realize that, as David Goggins says, no one's coming to save me, so I have to put my vision out there and find those that align with it. And along that path, I'm going to upset some people and the soy boys are going to be upset in their comments and stuff like that. But again, I already showed you stats. The majority of you guys get it. And I'm just trying to weed out those soft ones so that they stop watching my content and I can speak directly to the people that understand. So this got me to thinking, this no moral compass. And you may not be aware of this, but there are some historical psychological references that I want to highlight that take place when people don't stand up or when they just go along with the crowd, even when you know something is off. So in this video, we'll be diving into a powerful and thought-provoking topic, the importance of standing up for your beliefs and values, even when faced with authority or challenging situations. Through the lens of 4 groundbreaking psychological experiments, we'll discover how crucial it is for each one of us to take a stand when we know something is wrong. We're going to jump straight in. Now, disclaimer, I am not saying that by me asking for transparency or calling a spade or whatever is in any way, shape or form as atrocious as these things that I'm going to bring up or discuss in these psychology experiments, but it just lets you see how the foundation can get laid when you don't stand for integrity and transparency and things in everything, because it slowly pushes the envelope. So our first stop takes us all the way back to the 1960s when psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted a series of experiments to understand why ordinary people might commit terrible acts when they're simply following orders. The Milgram Experiment demonstrated that a majority of participants were willing to administer harmful electric shocks to an innocent person just because an authority figure told them to do so. This study serves as a stark reminder that we must question and challenge authority even, and especially even, when we are in circumstances that we find challenging, and especially when it contradicts our moral compass. It's up to each one of us to recognize the power of our actions and to resist the pressures to conform when we know something is wrong. So this was done specifically after the war criminal trials from World War II. And a lot of the people on trial said they were just following orders. And this scientist decided to see, what would happen to people who were just following orders. And sadly, they literally will just go along with it. Volunteers shocked the hell out of people. Luckily, the person being shocked was just acting. But people push things too far, even when they heard the other individual screaming and asking them to stop. And then the person conducting the trial would just tell them, you must continue. Like there was no threat on their lives, but they just looked at the person in a lab coat as the authoritative figure and they went along with the punishment. But again, it was an experiment, so nobody was actually injured. Maybe the people after they did that had some questions about their moral compass, but that's neither here nor there. Next up, we move over to the infamous Stanford prison experiment conducted by Philip Zimbardo in 1971. This study showed how exactly people can become abusive or submissive when placed in powerful or powerless role, respectively. The experiment spiraled out of control and it was terminated after just 6 days due to ethical concerns. The lesson from this experiment is clear. We must be vigilant in recognizing the potential for abuse of power and the consequences of blindly following a given role. It's essential for us to stand up against injustice and break the cycle of cruelty and submission. Now, again, remember, I'm not saying that what we're seeing right now in the space with a lack of transparency is any way, shape, or form like this, but it all starts with putting your head in the sand and ignoring the reality and refusing to acknowledge truths. That's my point. Next up, the BBC prison study. So in 2002, psychologists Alex Haslam and Steve Ricker conducted the BBC prison study, which was built on Zimbardo's work that we just touched on. but with an important difference in methodology. This study found that the power dynamic and social identification were crucial in determining whether individuals would challenge or maintain an oppressive system. The key takeaway here is that we make a difference by fostering a sense of collective responsibility and actively working together to resist oppressive power structures. It's not enough to be a passive bystander. We must unite and take a stand for what's right. Sound familiar? I sure hope it does. And last but not least, you have The Game of Death, a French documentary. So this was the modern day Milgram Experiment. And it revealed that even in the context of a game show, people were willing to administer harmful electric shocks to a contestant simply because the host told them to do so. This chilling example reinforced the idea that it's crucial for us to question authority and resist the urge to follow harmful directives. We must be mindful of the impact of our actions and stand up for our values, even in seemingly innocuous situations. Now, again, because I know I'm going to have the soy boys upset in the comments, this is not saying that what we're experiencing is anything like this. It's merely to show you the psychology of the human being. When you stick your head in the sand and you ignore what you know to be true, then you are literally enabling this behavior to continue. And what I'm getting at is the lack of transparency, the honesty, the lack of integrity going on in the space within the programs or platforms we're in, as well as further on down the line within crypto as a whole. And each individual has the ability to stand up and not take a back seat to any of this stuff and call a spade and, you know, vote with your views and with your capital and all that stuff. That's exactly what I'm looking for and rallying. And this came up because of one particular comment that I'm going to bring up, and I know it's going to be controversial, but that's kind of the point. So this one here was in one of my videos, blurred out the names to protect the non-cognitively developed. Don't want people going after them, but his response was a lot of YouTubers and continues to do so. So let's keep that in mind when bitching and using a non-loving tone towards mighty leader. I cannot help but laugh. So because Drip has paid people, it's my job to only show loving tone and call him mighty leader. That's Ray's title for him. I do not call him mighty leader. I don't put any man on a pedestal. Every single person is human and fallible. And that's exactly what I said here. I don't call him mighty leader. He's just another human. And by extension, he is flawed just like I am. Everyone has pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses. And if you're unable to accept that reality, I truly feel sorry for you. Now, I got no problem with Ray calling him mighty leader. I know that's what I would like, you know, just in jest, but I don't put that. Remember, I told you guys, I showed you with the Gandhi quote, words have power, right? So depending on your religion, you may or may not believe that there is one person that was flawless that walked this earth. So therefore, every other human being by extension is flawed. We have issues. We're not perfect, right? So if that's the case, if we have issues and you believe that to be inherently true, which I do, then why on earth can I not call out some of the issues within the flaws of the human beings I interact with? Why can I not call out my flaws? Why do I have to stick my head in the sand and only use a loving tone? That's ridiculous. If you love something by extension, then that means you want the best for it. Let's look at an example of like your kids or your spouse. If they're doing something to injure themselves or not get the best out of themselves, if you love them, you will call them to the table and put your foot down and let them know like, hey, you know, like for example, with fitness, I don't think you're taking very good care of yourself. Maybe you should start exercising. I want to see you live another 20, 30 years. That's called love, because it may not be what they want to hear, but you're holding them accountable to the standards you know they're capable of achieving. This is just ridiculous. I just have no idea how people like this exist in the world. It's fascinating. Like, how did they survive? Like, if they were in the wild, like if this was an animal, the mother or the father would have like eaten them because they just would not make it, because the animals realize like which ones just are not going to cut the mustard. But luckily human beings have compassion, so we let everyone go on. But man, survival of the fittest in some cases may be better for some people because they have a tough life ahead of them if they continue living like this. So anyway, that's what I said. And then somebody else commented, what flavor are you drinking? So clearly they understand what I'm saying and not this guy. And then next step, change the channel name to something else, coach. You're welcome, sir. So my response to him was, thanks for your words of wisdom. Let me share some as well. Stop putting people on the pedestal and focus on your own personal growth. You're welcome, sir. So it is crazy to me. Like, I don't get it. And again, I showed you guys the stats and the numbers. It's a very small percentage, but I have to point it out so that you guys can see that this is, you know, it's here, it's real. And sadly, there's just people out there that just aren't going to make it. The old whack me quote, well, not everybody's going to make it because they are just don't lack the cognitive abilities to make it in this world. And they need to follow blindly behind others. And like I made in my other video, lead, follower, get out of the way. We need followers. You do need people to stick their head in the sand. But as George Bernard Shaw said, we need the unreasonable man to make progress. And I will continue to be as unreasonable as possible if it means standing up for truth, transparency, integrity, and what I believe the future of DeFi is going to be. So hope all of you that believe in that vision as well will stand with me. And from what I already saw in the comments, I know you will. So stay tuned. I know I haven't released a video yet as of regarding the crypto ranch, but I will just, for those of you sticking around, leave a little alpha on this video. It will basically be taking the exact model that Forex has already laid down for us, using that foundation and shifting the power dynamic. I'll let you think about that. So taking what already exists and giving the power back to the people. All right, that's all I got. Hope it provides value. And if it did, smash that HBO special. Help brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below. And until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.
Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? Spritz Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.